Let me check in with part two of Thr Thr by Tommy Orange. It's 4 parts. Um, ooh, the book is doing its job in that I am a beneficiary of the genocide that happened to set up um, European presence in North America. And it wants to let me know exactly how shitty that is and how that is reverberated down, and that the people who, the native peoples who survive, and and are, you know, plagued by alcoholism, depression, um, fetal alcoholism, all sorts of things. That is the direct consequence of those actions that have happened for the last 400 years and are ongoing happening. Um, and yeah, there's definitely parts in this book where you're just like, fuck, 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 which is good. And it's not a bad place to visit every once in a while, because as someone said, as one of the things says, is like, something happens. I think it's one of Orange's essays. It's like someone gets shot or something bad happens, and it's like, wow, it's like something you tweet about, you like fit posts, you commit to reading stuff, and then a week or so goes by and it's like it never happened. And if you're in a position that you don't have to learn about your history, then you're probably one of the people who's on the cruise ship getting canapes, benefiting from the shitty history, not one of the people who is, caught up in the raging sea, getting smushed against the rocks right now, which, is definitely where I could say I myself is part of. It's one of these things of, it's a conscious thing to actually, read this stuff, read about history, read the really nasty shit that's happened, colonially, sexual politics wise, um, gender, all those sort of things. And that, to like sit with you're the shithead sitting on the top of the pyramid with all these people from history underneath you, squashing down. And, I'm sure every once in a while I get little twinges where I feel like, oh yeah, there are people sitting on top of me. I am a support worker. So I'm not exactly at the top of the economic social food chain in the world in all ways. I'm not the owner of Amazon, or some super ultra rich mega family. No. I'm scraping by that way. However, I've also really benefited from a very wealthy country and all that. So yeah. Um, the book is mixing essays with the fictional characters. I don't know if this is a very kind of North American thing of like, ooh, you got nonfiction in my fiction. Ooh, you got fiction in my nonfiction kind of dichotomy that I'm feeling. It definitely makes you more aware of the characters. And I mean, he really does this. He's Tommy Orange really does this in that he's got a character who's recording people's stories, and recording a guy talking about how, like, well, I guess I have a native story, but my native story is I don't know my native story, and I don't really know, like, I don't have like, I don't have my history. I don't have, because, you know, either my parents didn't want to talk about it or my parents left, you know, and so I have a very native story, which is I don't have my history, which is in itself a story. And then, you know, recording that story, having a documentarian record that story. It's, you know, it's going a couple of layers in there. We have the whole thing of, is it Jackie and her going to the substance abuse thing, you know, 13 days sober, and meeting the guy who raped her on Alcatraz Island back in 60s, 70s. And then going, you know, that's like, holy shit. A brutal, tough story to hear. And I mean, having the guy starting off the thing saying like, well, this is all bullshit. We're just trying to come up with better ways to tell kids not to kill themselves, when the root cause is kids are looking around at how things are and going, oh, I don't want to fucking live in this. We're you know, we're basically putting a net over fucking inferno, and saying like, oh no, you know, keep on suffering. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's overwhelming. And, you know, how do you, it's a tough story to hear. It's a tough story here, and it should be a tough story to hear. It'd be an even fucking harder story to live. I mean, that's the thing. I can have all my white fucking guilt, but I don't have to live this story. I can put the book down, and I won't have to think about it. And I don't have you know, multiple members of my family who've committed suicide. I've only got one. White privilege. And I know how that's affected me. Just one. And it's like, how do you kind of square that, like, you know, whole families and stuff like that dead of suicide or dead of alcoholism, or, you know, just shitty. So that's what I'm listening to at the moment. As with The Inconvenient Indian, I doubt, by Thomas King, I doubt very much I want to review this. Maybe I will do a review to myself, and then I will kid myself as some asshole white guy to release my views on it. But it's like, it seems like they would be the least mattering viewpoints ever. So most likely it'll just appear on my Sunday Reads. Smile! Sunday Reads. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later, and part 3 and part 4 of this as I go along.